Hello, my name is John Chatburn, and this is the financial presentation for the Inland West Mission Center Conference that will be held in Billings, Montana on October 10th and 11th. At the conference, we will be presenting for the conference's review and approval the auditor's report found on page 4 of the accompanying financial documentation, as well as the 2008 audited balance sheets and financial statements found on pages 5 and 7 respectively. We will also be providing updated financials with the year-to-date balance sheet for 2009 found on page 13 and the year-to-date budgeted financial statement found on page 15. We want to give you a brief update on our property and investments. The Nampa, Idaho congregation voted several months ago to give their building to the Mission Center to take care of some repair issues and sell. The church property had some mold issues that the Mission Center has taken care of, had professionally abated, and in the process we also had an individual express interest in the property for use for another church facility, and we think it's a win-win. We have just accepted an offer for sale of the Nampa property that we'll be closing on in mid-November. The Colville, Washington property remains pretty much as it was the last time conference was. We're in conversation with the presiding bishopric about what to do with that property. The Missoula, Montana property is currently listed and for sale. The market is somewhat soft in Missoula, but we hope by the time we meet next year that we can tell you that it's sold and how much we sold it for. We wanted to give you a brief update on our investment pool balances. Many of you are aware that the market has experienced some downward trends this year. This is what our investments look like. And in July of last year, we were just shy of $1.3 million. Our balance at the end of June was $912,000. You can see that we've had a downward trend with some gradual ups and downs. Because of that downward trend, we're recommending to amend the budget for 2009 to reflect Pat Moon's position that was downsized, unfortunately, this summer, and to reflect his layoff and the reduction in ministerial support, which are things related to that position like phone, internet, etc. We also need to increase funding for Joanne Fisher and Frank Young's positions because to compensate for the World Church decrease in funding. The World Church and the Inland West Mission Center jointly fund both Joanne and Frank's positions, and the World Church cut their funding by about $38,000, and so the Mission Center is required to pick that up. The amended budget also includes a reduction in the use of AIP, the Affiliate Investment Pool funds, by approximately $3,000. An increase in administrative assistant expense because Jennifer Brock Olson has tendered her resignation and we need to train a replacement, and a small increase in volunteer mission specialist travel reimbursement. And the 2000 amended budget does not call for congregational assessments to change in 2009. So now the fun stuff, 2010, the proposed budget. There are two primary ways that the Inland West Mission Center funds its budgets. One is by congregational assessments, and we've told you, we've expressed the desire that we'd like to move away from assessments to a generosity method of funding. When we talked to congregations over the last year, they embraced that concept, but said, we really need some more time to live with this. So for 2010, we are going to continue assessments, and we'll talk a little more about that later. The other way that we fund the budget is through use of the Affiliate Investment Pool funds. In 2009, our budget, our balance of the Affiliate Investment Pool at the end of June was $912,000. What we would like to propose doing is setting aside and creating a separate fund for Frank Young to fund his retirement out of that little green sliver, which is approximately $58,000, and use the remainder of that $854,000, a percentage of that, to fund the Mission Center. Let me explain why that's important. We typically use a 6.6% spending rate off of the Affiliate Investment Pool, which is designed to return 9%. So we're never intending to use all of it. We are Also, so 6.6% of 58 of 912,000, the big blue bar, would be about $60,000. 6.6% of 854,000 is about $56,000. So the difference in those two is about $4,000. $60,000, the 6.6% of the top bar, isn't enough to fund the budget the way we have it constructed. But if we take Frank's salary and benefits out, because we know he's retiring in 2011, the 6.6% of the remaining 854,000 is enough to fund our budget. I know this is kind of confusing. We're not trying to pull tricks on anyone, and we want to be completely transparent about this. So if you have questions, feel free to contact me, and we'll do our best to explain this as clearly as we can at Mission Center Conference. So the 2010 budget funding. As I said, establishment of a separate fund for Frank Young's position until retirement. We will also propose a removal of the 20% subsidy, which was a part of the old assessment formula. And instead of using the formula, what we're proposing to do is decrease all congregational assessments 10% from the 2009 levels. We're also shifting away from a depreciation model of equipment funding to a reserve for replacement model. In addition, we will be spending $1,000 on equipment purchases because we have gotten fleet vehicles for the remaining 2 mission specialists so that they can cover a wider territory with decreased resources. We've also added a new line item for resources to allow our staff to be able to, well, when they're visiting in a congregation and someone says, what's a good resource for preaching or worship, they can say, here it is, and I'm going to send it to you. We've also increased funding to cover expenses for volunteer mission specialists. Some of the new items of funding are Young Adult Ministries, Discipleship Now / Leadership, Gospel Planning Groundwork. That relates specifically to, for lack of a better word, church planting. And we don't have enough funds available to be able to do a full-blown gospel plant or church plant. But we do believe that just because we can't do the whole thing doesn't mean that we don't do anything. And so we've set aside some funds to be able to lay the groundwork for future gospel plants or church plants throughout the Mission Center. We also have established a new fund for recognition or pastoral care to be able to express condolences throughout the Mission Center when people experience pain such as the loss of a loved one. But we also want to be able to say thank you to those in the Mission Center or those friends that help the Mission Center with tough tasks, such as the legal department at church headquarters when they help us with a particularly tough legal issue. We want to be able to say thank you. And finally, we've added a small subsidy or a small travel fund to enable people to be able to travel to Mission Center Conference for those that don't have adequate resources. So that is the 2010 budget and the budget presentation for the 2009 Mission Center Conference. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at jchatburn@cfchrist.org, and we'll hope to see you in Billings on October 10th and 11th.